On behalf of myself and on behalf of my family, let me take this opportunity to wish the people of Mombasa and all of the people of Kenya a happy and prosperous 2017. Emerging from a challenging and difficult 2016, I am confident that 2017 will be the turnaround year for Kenya. We live in a country where corruption is almost an acceptable way of life, where the social fabric is torn apart by zealous and shameless ethnicity, where public or constitutional institutions are weak and politicized, where poverty and inequalities reign unabated, where the skewed allocation of both the national and county pie tenses our political environment, where mediocrity and nepotism is the order of business and government at both local and county level, local and national level, where the country is faced by real existential challenges and crises, and where good people, like some of you, fold up their arms and do nothing about it. It is my hope that within your New Year's resolution of 2017, this is the year which each and every one of you will stand up to be counted. One, following the visitors we had in this county over the last 1 month, all of them point to one fact, that the county of Mombasa is extremely filthy. So I want to link to you what the filth of corruption, or the nexus of the filth of corruption to service delivery. Why it is filthy? Because somebody is stealing. The county is filthy because somebody is stealing. So as I said, prosecute the filth in the garbage filth collection procurement process in Mombasa. Over the last 4 to 5 weeks, our visitors have complained about all sorts of things. We have hosted thousands of visitors who have flocked our county. In early December 2016, you will all recall, Mombasa played host to the 7th edition of the East African Community Interparliamentary Games, bringing together legislators from the parliaments of Kenya, Tanzania, Uganda, Rwanda, Burundi, and the East African Legislative Assembly, EALA. During the same period of December, hotel occupancy in Mombasa was at 100%, and business was booming, as is often the case for Mombasa in this month. All the visitors I spoke to seem to confirm the UN cry of the residents of Mombasa County that the county, despite its beautiful beaches and other attractions, is filthy. Like many residents of Mombasa, I have sought to establish why the county government has been unable to keep the county clean, failing in its most basic obligation for the last 4 years, despite huge investment in the area. Through officials of the county government and information shared to me and other agencies and authorities last month, I have established the following. One, that the county government irregularly allocated the contract for the collection of garbage through single sourcing in contravention of the Public Procurement and Assets Disposal Act 2015 to a company whose directors are believed to be close associations or confidants of the county governor. Two, that the said company has irregularly paid a sum of Kenya shillings 300 million annually for garbage collection. In fact, the other figures put it at 42 million a month, which will take the sum way above the 300 million. But I quote this sum because this is the sum, the award sum, that is further supported by the Auditor General's report for the year ended 30 June 2015. Thirdly, that it cannot be demonstrated as to how the annual payment of the sum of Kenya shillings 300 million was arrived at as payment to the said company, as the procedure for procurement for such services was not followed. How do you allocate 300 million? What basis did you use? What were the areas of technicalities? If I come to you and I tell you as a journalist, I want you to provide for me services in photography or documentation. I just can't pay you off the air. There's a certain model. So how did they arrive to that figure? But sadly, the matter has been a subject of investigations by the ESCC for the past 2 years, and despite incontrovertible evidence before the ESCC, there has been no prosecutions. Owing to the above, I demand as follows, that the ESCC forthwith, in fact that should be their New Year's resolution, forwards the file to the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions for prosecutions of all persons, whether public officials or private citizens, involved in the irregular award of contract and payment amounting to 1 billion or more over the last 3 to 4 years. They've defrauded us through a garbage collector system that is not working. They have paid unto themselves, enriched themselves almost to a tune of 1 billion shillings, whereas the county continues to remain dirty. The ESCC, and why this is a very important one for me, recovers from the governor through direct or vicarious responsibility or liability, his officers, and other private individuals who are beneficiaries, all sums paid as a result of this irregular award. Corruption must be punished, because there is no way these levels of payment can go without the notice of governor. So whereas governors might not be signing to paperwork, but they are the chief accounting officer of the county, it is likely that in these procurement instruments, the contracts, that you will not find the governor's signature, but I do not believe anybody could have signed it without undue influence. So they must recover this money from the governor in person, either through direct or vicarious responsibility, his officers and private individuals who are beneficiaries, all sums paid as a result of this irregular award. 3, that upon commencement of the prosecution, all accounts and assets of persons involved in this criminality, be they private or public, be frozen or seized for the purposes of recovery of the said amount. If the war against corruption must be won, then we must wage it with candor and grit. The noose of prosecution and conviction must tighten around its perpetrators, regardless of affiliations, whether ethnic or political. So we are saying regardless of affiliations, or any other affiliation or considerations, whether race, religion, or any other considerations. Number 2 is a separate subject. I say buyer beware. In legal terms, it's called caveat emptor. I have reliably learned that the county government of Mombasa intends to proceed with plans to sell off public housing estates in Mombasa. In fact, they are due for forcible eviction within the course of this month so that they can do a groundbreaking. I reiterate my earlier position that whereas I support the renewal of all those estates, this renewal must not lead to privatization, that is, sale or disposal of public housing to private individuals and or companies. I can confirm to the governor of Mombasa that upon his exit later this year, the new administration under my leadership will have necessary capacity to put together plans for financing of the renewal program without selling off or disposing public assets through a connived scheme of disenfranchisement under the guise of a public-private partnership. Further, the context of the Constitution must be understood. The county government is not a private developer. It is a duty bearer. In the circumstances, I wish to state as follows. 1, that all private developers involved in this scheme aimed at privatizing public housing will bear full liability upon the exit of the current county government later this year. 2, that all those who intend to buy off part of Mombasa County public assets, either as a single unit or in any other form, be warned that you risk irreparable loss. Public housing, which is the obligation of county government, is not and cannot be for sale. That all current tenants in all public housing estates to stay put, even where the county government refuses to receive their rent from some of its tenants.
Na mimi nilikuwa kabla ya kutolewa kwa sababu ya kudhihirisha mambo kama haya, Deputy Chair wa Finance and Budget. Wakati ilipokuwa wanafanya mambo haya tulileta ubishi mkubwa sana. Lakini ilibidi lazima wafanye vile walivyokuwa wanataka. Na ni ukweli kwamba walikuwa wanalipa 42 million a month kwa hii company, na mimi mwenyewe niliraise hii issue na nikapeleka barua kwa county clerk. Wakati ule alikuwa Tabman Otieno, na Tabman Otieno mwenyewe akanidhihirishia kwamba wewe umeshika waya mbovu na hii huenda ukaona mambo tofauti. Na kweli baada ya hapo immediately nilitolewa katika ile deputy chairship wa finance kwa sababu ya kutaka kudhihirisha mambo kama haya. Hii ni ukweli, pesa nyingi zinalipwa lakini hakuna kazi inafanyika. Na kila mtu anaona katika Mombasa wanaozoa taka ni magari ya county government, mashovel ya county government, lakini bado kuna mtu analipwa. Hii si siri na kila mtu anaona. Wakati ikiwa mahali popote kuna mirundo ya taka zinaondolewa, huwa ni magari ya county government, wafanyikazi wa county government na shovel za county government. Sasa huyo anayelipwa analipwa kwa service gani? Asante.
Alafu, when I become the new administration under my leadership, that's in August. You know, one of the things I usually try to do, and this I will answer it with the disdain. But there are some people, when you try this type of things, to sit down and start crafting statements, trying to Photoshop my tweet. You know, me, I'm not a socialite. That's why social media is usually not my place of dominance. You know, I try to resist being the sultan of socialites and social media. That's why I want you guys, whenever you focus on me, focus on serious issues about me. Not where I cook, who I cook for, my joho and my beard. I want you to write very serious things about me. What are my values in life, what I represent, you know, the personality I have. So, you know the pages you feature me. I do not compete for space with Vera Sidika, you know. So, what I wanted, so that's why I'm very reluctant, usually, to respond, because you do not know what they're setting you up for. Because that is their space. You get the point? They have these bots, accounts, and persons who some of them are PhD holders in social media, spends half the time insulting others, you know? If we ever told our ancestors that we'll spend half our times insulting people you don't know in social media, they will never have believed you 50 years ago or 20 years ago. So they want to set you up in a contest, yeah, about these issues, so that they mar you politically. They commit you to a destruction. So for me, the only living is Joho leaving office, not living for him the governorship. I think this guy has been a liability to this county. Whatever you might say out there, sijui Simba, sijui Paka, sijui Nini, that is for you know, I cannot allow reformist capital, yeah, such enormous capital for transformation, you know, to be scuttled and captured in such a arbitrary manner by people whose only capacity is the resources to fund political parties. So we will not allow it. We must be defiant. Otherwise, we might have a county that we have nothing to write home about. These things are not a joke. Yeah, it's not a joke. I know some people think it's personal, but ask anybody who does also, who learns human behavior. They will tell you, man, a lot of things. It's not a joke about where this county is right now. We must be very careful to ensure that we do not continue with this trend. So, Karim, the only living I am doing is ensuring that Joho leaves this county governorship position. No matter what people feel or believe outside the county, the people of Mombasa are the final arbiters to this contest. And they will make that decision on 8th of August. Nobody is going to make that decision. Not a team of, or a panel, not anybody. It is the people of Mombasa who will decide this contest of the 9th of August. Na alafu ati msijibu kaona watu hawajibu. Unajua, before you react to people like us, you must be very competent that your 2 degrees amount for something. So mimi hapana mchezo hapo. Sio msije mkajisema oh mashallah hajibu nini? Hana la kujibu. Sisi kama raia tuwe wakakamavu. Tujue kwamba hizi contract ama kandarasi zinazoingizwa katika mhula wa mwisho wa magavana nyingi zinafanywa kwa mchecheto na zinafanywa kwa maslahi ya kibinafsi na yanafanywa kiubinafsi ama kwa misingi ya kisiasa. Na mara nyingi sana baada ya zabuni kama hizi kuna kuja kupatikana kuna athari kubwa sana, shoki kubwa sana katika ule uchumi wetu. Manake wewe na mimi ndo tulipa kodi. Wewe maskini, usidanganye bwana. Unajua usije kaambiwa sijui Kenya ni middle income. Ati Kenya sijui GDP yake ngani, sijui yaishinda nchi gani. Kenya ni nchi ya kimaskini. Hizi zote ukizikagua mwisho ni kama maisha yako yameimarika kwa namna yote. Karibu kila mtu hapa hajui rent itatoka wapi, mtoto atampeleka vipi skuli. Hii Christmas nyingine hii social media hii ni kujipa burudani tu, watu pige picha na rafiki yako papo, wajua wazi mambo yako yote magumu. Alafu waipost kuonesha mambo yako yako sawa. Stop the illusion. There's a real world living out there. Sasa hivi nyote hapa mumposti si labda mapicha ya New Year. Karibu nyote labda mko mawaya. Lakini mwajionyesha ati na kitupa chako kimoja cha kupawa. Hii social media hii ina athari mbaya sana hii. Usione hivi. Ni ulaghai wa hali ya juu. Kila mtu atiateka tu, haiwezekani. It's illusion. Kwa hivyo kwa vile tushakubaliana sote maskini na hapa wengine mmetingisa vitu mwajua kwamba hivi picha vyenu vya social media na vingi vingine vya urongo. Ati umfika English Point, wajua wazi soda ya pale huiwezi bei yake, lakini wajipiga at English Point Marina wajitag. Rongo tu bwana.